You know the deal.
We don't say goodbye.
Because it's not the moon, it's just Phoenix.
It's Buffy's last day and things get pretty emotional, so let's break down Season 2, Episode 20 of Andi Mack and find out just what happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and welcome back to my channel and another TV recap. Now, I just want to take a moment to say that I actually still kind of laugh that I get comments on every video from people being like, just shut up and play the whole episode, you talk too much. Because I'm guessing that they maybe don't know how exactly YouTube works and they don't understand the meaning in the title that says recap, and then, you know, you hear my voice at the beginning of the video. You kind of gotta know, right, that it's not going to be the full episode of the show playing. But if you were clicking on these videos expecting that, you're just going to have to find another place to watch a full episode of a show, because it's most likely not going to be on here on YouTube unless you find people that make it sound like helium and flip it, which is probably the only thing you'll get on YouTube. I make these as a place where I can just kind of discuss, like pretend like I'm discussing it with a bunch of people, what happened on shows, and then be able to listen to other people's viewpoints on the show as well, and see things from a different view down in the comments. That's why I like listening to you guys in the comments, because we all have different opinions on how we interpret a character, which characters we would think were annoying or acting out in a certain way that, you know, I don't agree with or you don't agree with, and it's fun to hear those opinions in kind of a nice, safe forum. So that's the point of these videos. That's why I do this. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you do like what I do, because I do cover other shows, and I also go to events sometimes and interview celebrities, and eventually I will start making other kinds of content on this channel once I actually figure out what that is, but someday that'll happen. Alright, so moving on, this episode was an emotional one, especially for me, because I grew up in a military family just like Buffy, and I know what it's like not wanting to say goodbye or even to get too attached in the first place to someone, because you know you're going to be moving again in a year or two. But what I loved about this episode is getting to see things from Andi and Cyrus's side, because I think as a kid, I don't think I ever thought about the people that I left behind and how those people could been affected. I was just like, oh, they got a ton of other friends, they'll be fine. I'm the one who has to go make new friends, woe is me type of thing. So that was good to see that other side. Also, for those of you who literally ask about Marty in every video I make and every recap, because I feel like it does happen, there's at least one comment that's like, whatever happened to Marty? Well, I personally thought that was wrapped up pretty well. I mean, they said that, you know, Buffy rejected Marty and he was really hurt, so they don't speak anymore. It seemed pretty clear-cut, like I said, but also Garrett, who played Marty, is now on General Hospital, so he's kind of not available to come film this show anymore. Anyway, Marty does get a mention in this episode, and it might make Buffy fans smile, so let's just quit my rambling and get on to what happened in this episode. First, we have a continuation of our Fringe fiasco with Bex and Cece, and this time Pops is getting involved. So Pops comes over to help Bex fix the sink, and she starts venting about what Cece did, and well, what do you know, Pops had no idea Cece bought the Fringe, and he is not happy about it. Later, Cece comes over looking for Pops because she can't reach him. He's avoiding her phone calls, and Bex is like, well, maybe it's because you didn't tell him about the Fringe. Well, now Cece is worried and mentions that maybe she should call this whole thing off, and Bex is just like, oh, wait, yes, do that, since Cece has like a 3-day grace period to back out of this whole thing. So Cece sends a text to the broker and then reveals to Bex that she actually had good intentions. She wasn't trying to hide anything from Pops. She just wanted to go over the actual plan with Bex before they told him about it. And that plan was actually to remodel the Fringe in order to help Bex and make Bex kind of the go-to makeup person in town. Yeah, she didn't want to keep the Fringe the same with the whoopee cushions and the buzzers and the wigs and all that kind of stuff. She wanted to turn it into less of like a Spencer's Gifts and more of like an actual makeup place. Yeah, now Bex is biting her tongue. I mean, look, Cece does have good intentions. She just goes about things kind of in the wrong way and in the wrong order, and she and Bex both kind of suffer from, you know, the foot and mouth. They always kind of be like biting their words. So it's kind of annoying sometimes, but you know what? It does kind of make for a good dramatic storyline, right? Well, Bex is now eating her words and is like, I love that plan, why didn't you talk to me about this first? As Cece reveals that she spent her retirement not to invest in the Fringe, but to invest in Bex. So Bex tells Cece to text that broker back, and now they need to tell Pops the truth. So they return to Cece's house, but still cannot get a hold of Pops, and they enlist to one person they know Pops can't resist. That is Andi, and he always returns her texts, and this whole plan seems to work.
I've been grandparent trapped.
They used me as bait.
They then show Pops their business plan, and it looks like he is in, so I can't wait to see what this remodeled Fringe looks like. Now on to this whole moving day drama of Buffy's last day in town. So Buffy has 1 day left in town, and then her family plans on leaving for Arizona bright and early the next morning. So she wants to make the most of this last day with Andi and Cyrus. So she's with Andi and Cyrus at the spoon, and she tries to put on this happy face, but Andi and Cyrus are just super sad, especially when they get down to that last baby Tater, which Cyrus says they're actually not going to fight about. He plans to keep this baby Tater forever. I don't think that's going to last very long. We also get a mention here about how Andi is more confused than ever when it comes to Walker and Jonah, but basically the relationship stuff is put on the back burner this episode and will pop back up next episode. Now as they walk Buffy home to her house, they see the movers packing up the truck, and reality really starts to set in, and Buffy is trying to act all strong and save face, and she says she doesn't want to say goodbye, and that distance doesn't matter, they're going to be friends forever. And then she says something like she wishes she could put this moment in a time capsule. Well, that sets off a light bulb in Cyrus's head, and he's like, oh, we should make a time capsule and bury it and open it in like 10 years. But Buffy is pretty much against this and reiterates again how she wanted this day to be normal, and now things about burying a time capsule and how Andi and Cyrus keep insisting on it make this day seem more sad and like a funeral for Buffy instead, and she is not for this.
Now it's starting to feel like my funeral, which I will not be going to.
So Andi goes to get some advice from the last person you would probably expect, Jonah. Yeah, Jonah is actually becoming a good listener and getting in touch with his feelings, which is refreshing, and even Andi is noticing. So even if this relationship does not end up working out, it's caused Jonah to grow as a person and be less of sort of that robot we saw him as kind of in the first season and a half, at least that I thought I saw him as, and now he's a person that has emotions. Is a three-dimensional character in my opinion. So it's a win either way. Anyway, Jonah actually has some good advice and tells Andi that Buffy will actually still probably want some of the stuff, even if she says she doesn't, and so don't make a time capsule and bury it, but make like a timeless capsule and just give it to her to open whenever she wants, because she'll probably want like her history-making basketball jersey and some other things. So Andi and Cyrus head over to Buffy's house on a covert operation, which impresses Buffy's mom, and they enlist her to get them some stuff off the list that they've made to put in the capsule. And then her mom, reading the list, realizes she's missed so much in Buffy's life, because on this list of things that Andi and Cyrus want are things like the flat iron and the prison jumpsuit and stuff like that we've seen in previous episodes. Buffy's mom thinks this is a great idea and agrees to help them out and leave a box with the stuff by the front door. Now they just need an actual time capsule to put the stuff in, so that's where Bex and Cece encourage Andi to text Pops about coming back and helping her, and he comes through and brings Andi a time capsule, which literally looks like a trash can with a sticker on top that says the Time Capsule Company. Are there actually companies that make time capsules and are literally just, putting a sticker on a kind of like a trash bin and being like, here, buy this for $30? Well, Buffy's mom chooses to help with this mission, but unfortunately she fails. But this moment is not really a failure because it does bring her and Buffy closer together. Buffy is packing up her room and going through some of the pictures, and there's actually one of Marty.
Was he your boyfriend?
No, not really. We don't talk anymore, so he probably doesn't even know that I'm leaving. Which is a shame, because he'd love to know that I'm leaving.
Then her mom asks if she ever went out with Cyrus, and Buffy makes a joke but doesn't tell her mom about Cyrus and that he is gay, which actually, it's nice that she doesn't just blurt that out because it's a very sensitive subject, and Cyrus has only really come out to Buffy and Andi, so it's not really her place to spread that to everybody. Buffy's mom then says that she wants to actually keep some of these photos, and Buffy's getting suspicion, is like, well, why would you want these photos? You're not in them. And so Buffy's mom ends up spilling to Buffy that Andi and Cyrus have plans to make a time capsule. And Buffy again says how she didn't want this whole time capsule and she didn't want to say goodbye because she doesn't remember her life before Andi and Cyrus, and she doesn't want their last image of her to be her breaking down, like she's trying to be strong just like her mom, that she's seen her mom be so many times when her mom's gone off to deployment. Well, Buffy's mom lets her know that it's actually okay to cry and show emotion, and that she in fact does cry every time she leaves for deployment. The minute Buffy can't see her cry, that's when she breaks down. But it's reiterated again that you can be strong, but you can also cry at the same time. Like, crying and showing emotion does not make you weak. I think Buffy really needed to hear that from her mother, because multiple times throughout the show, we've seen Buffy put on that brave face and try to act strong, and she says she's trying to be strong like her mom.
Didn't know that. Hey, I'll show you my tears if you show me yours.
Back at Andy's, she and Cyrus are packing up the time capsule. They put in like a Good Hair Crew shirt, some old pictures, the dress code book that Buffy helped change, and even a belt made out of the school experiment wristbands. Very much nice callbacks to past episodes. But Andi and Cyrus aren't the only ones getting in on this time capsule. Marty has given Cyrus some shoelaces and a note to put in this time capsule.
Okay, so you were faster. From your virtual boyfriend, aka Marty from the party, aka 11.5.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a fan of Marty and Buffy, and I was rooting for them, and I wish he had been available to be in this episode. But this is still cool to get a mention of him, and the fact that he actually still does care for Buffy. Bex also wants to put something in the time capsule, and it is Buffy the Vampire Season 3, so any fans of Buffy the Vampire Slayer probably like this whole little scene. It's a callback to the episode when Bex did Buffy's hair, and Buffy said that Season 3 was her favorite, and there's also a mention of one of my favorite characters, Faith. And then Jonah shows up, and he has Buffy's basketball jersey, since she was the first girl to ever play for the team at the school, as well as a basketball signed by the whole team. And yes, when I say whole team, I even mean TJ. Jonah, Cyrus, and Andi pack up the time capsule and walk over to Buffy's house and notice that Buffy's mom didn't leave them a box like she said she would. So now they're a little confused, but they're kind of like, we don't really need it. We got a lot of stuff in here already. They then knock and no one answers the door. So they look in the windows and discover the house is completely empty, and Buffy got her wish. She left without saying goodbye. Yeah, it's a pretty sad way to end an episode, right? Like I said, this episode kind of hit home for me and made my tear ducts maybe twitch a little bit. I'm just hoping Buffy realizes that even though it hurts her to say goodbye, she's also hurting Cyrus and Andi by not saying goodbye. And, you know, it's not even really goodbye. It's kind of like a see you later, right? Because I feel like these three have such a tight bond that they would actually still be friends in the future, and Buffy could always come visit. So, Buffy, please make the right move here. And I'm sure that there are some people that are gonna be like, Buffy's so annoying in this episode and so selfish. And you know what? I think she was actually going through stuff in this episode that was pretty realistic, because I know I kind of learned how to shut off emotions and not get attached and to try to be strong when a move happened. But now I see how selfish that is, and I think that's something that Buffy is going to realize as the show goes forward. I also like the time capsule thing. I thought that was sweet and cute, and it was like a Buffy's greatest hits, but also makes me think that Buffy's leaving even more, not coming back, because that's something you expect when a show ends or a character ends. So I'm hoping Buffy does not leave for good and somehow comes back for Season 3, which I think it's been confirmed that she does come back for Season 3, because Sophia Wiley's been in Utah, right, filming? I think. Anyways, I guess that, you know, we only have about 2 or 3 more episodes left this season, and then we'll ultimately get our answer and set up for Season 3. For now, though, let's watch the promo for the next episode.
Next on ANDI MACK.
Walker,
Hey Andy, I made something for you.
these are incredible. It's just, I have a boyfriend.
Do me a favor and just keep the shoes anyway.
Alright, looks like Andi and Jonah have decided to give their relationship another try. We hear the word boyfriend.
Your sneaks?
They were a gift from a friend.
It's okay. I know who the friend is.
Jonah, wait.
And then Walker comes up, and, you know, it seems like Walker's okay with just being friends, but it's sort of like, yeah, right. And even Jonah isn't buying that. But who knows, maybe Walker actually does want to just be friends. Either way, it's going to cause drama and someone's getting jealous.
At least Time Capsule Buffy will never leave us without saying goodbye.
I miss her so much. I just wish she'd return one of my 57 voicemails. Am I ever gonna hear your voice again?
We also have Buffy not returning any of Andi or Cyrus's calls, and it seems like Tyrus fans might get some more of TJ and Cyrus, because even though it's super quick to start off this promo and then they're not seen together for the rest of this promo, we do get a glimpse of what looks like TJ and Cyrus hanging out and TJ encouraging Cyrus to go into some building. So we'll just have to tune in to the next episode to see what that is all about. Now, that's it for this recap. So what did you think of this week's episode? Have you actually ever made a time capsule? Have you experienced a friend moving away? Was that really hard? And what do you think is going to happen by the end of the season? Will Buffy come back? And what about Andi's love triangle? Sound off down in the comments, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and thumbs up if you like what you see, because I'm always here rambling about pop culture, TV shows, movies, doing interviews, all that kind of stuff. And check out some of my latest videos right over here. My name's Lisa. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you again next time. Shine on!